And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Lanny Ford for Rembert along with you here on a beautiful Tuesday morning. Cool outside. I'm showing 32 degrees, but it's going to be a nice weather week this week. Hopefully you can get outside and enjoy some of that. It's going to be nice. Maybe some 70-degree weather as we go on through. Possibility of some rain. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But, gosh, it's spring. Spring has sprung here. And Ford said he wanted to verify that by the allergy outbreak he had traveling down toward the coast yesterday.
It was down in Wilmington, and I got up and I thought, dang, must be really like the air just must be heavy or whatever. No, I looked out the window. Stuff was already blooming. Guys out there mowing outside the hotel. I was like, yeah, it's on.
Yeah, it's on.
It's on. Mm-hmm. Here it comes.
Stevie Lowe, good morning. 33 more days. He's marking them down.
Yeah, him and Travis both.
He's
Travis
marking them down.
Travis reminds me of the guy on, which Adam Sandler movie was it, where Steve Buscemi is laying down on that couch and got that lipstick and just going around. He gets up there and marks out the calendar. You know who he's going to. That's Travis getting ready for the trip, golf trip.
I'm ready to go.
Oh man.
Let's see. What else have I got going on? Juju sent me a link, and I got to find it. But former Western Carolina head coach Mark Spear is going to be on the staff with Louisville.
Awesome.
Awesome. I'm looking here to see. And Mark's a great guy out of Kannapolis.
Yeah.
And just Mark was always very loyal to come and be on the show with us and stuff. He's listed as chief of staff at Louisville. I don't know what that means exactly, but when you got a former head coach, but Mark played at Western early 90s and then started I'm sorry, he went to Clemson. His first coaching job was at Western. Yep.
Right.
But spent that time and then a little time at with the Blue Hose and then with Elon and then got in at App State in 2003 and stayed there till 2011 when he took the job at Western.
Right.
And I didn't realize last year he was a senior analyst at App State. I didn't realize that, but now he's back on. He is back on Coach Satterfield's staff, and that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's a good thing, and being a chief of staff, I mean, that's going to offload. A lot of responsibility.
For Satterfield.
Yeah, man.
The day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, and having somebody experienced like that can, take care of it's basically it's assistant head coach, and take care of those things to, it's all about time management and, focus on, the things that are most important. And being a head football coach is about 1% of actual coaching.
That's exactly
and 99% of even in high school.
Yeah. You don't get to do a whole lot of coaching.
Oh, God, it's crazy, man. So,
thanks for getting up, Andrew. Appreciate the effort here this morning. Did I say something funny?
Hey, wait. Ding, ding, ding.
Did I say something funny?
Here it comes.
I didn't say anything funny. Have you checked in with Coach Saban yet? See if there's anything you do for him today? That's all I'm going to say. I'm just trying to keep it real.
Holy smokes. Here it comes.
Nope, I'm being nice. Todd Herms, don't you was in Maine. He showed some picture yesterday or a couple of days ago. He was in Maine in a truck, and it was blizzarding.
I thought he's in a snowcat trying to plow his way through to one of the lakes. You got to visit those in, June.
Andrew said, just needed my daily dose of humility.
Yeah.
Do what I can for you, Andrew. I'm always here for you, big guy. I'm always here for you. Always here for you. Juju and I were talking about last night, and we saw this. We were talking about it, and then all of a sudden a blurb come across. Art Briles is not taking the job at he was with Hugh Jackson at I can't think where he was at now. Grambling. And just there's too much pushback. And here's the thing. You just said, well, how long do you have to pay for that sin? I said, well, I'm not sure if it was ever resolved. Sometimes that's where part of the problem comes from. If you've got some off-field issues, if it never gets resolved to where people feel comfortable with it, and it was because it was a sexual assault type thing, it's going to be hard. I mean, it really is. He got actually hired for a job with the Winnipeg Jets, and then had to withdraw from that. And the part that blew my mind, he actually coached high school for 2 years, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But undoubtedly, he doesn't have a criminal record. It's just when it becomes newsworthy, there's a lot of pushback from the people involved.
Yeah, it's something that, in his situation that.
And he didn't want to be a distraction.
Right.
And I appreciate that.
And it sounds like to me the guy, just wants to coach football. And, obviously things happened, along the way. And, he's just got a lot of, like you say, there's just major hurdles.
Yep.
And depending on where you go is how high the hurdle is.
And, here's the thing. This is where I think the well of support against him came from, was when former Grambling State star Doug Williams, Super Bowl winner, wasn't he Super Bowl MVP with the Redskins when they won it?
Absolutely.
He said, I can't support it. And he said that the late Grambling State head coach Eddie Robinson is turning over in his grave right now. And, boys, that's when Doug Williams comes out against you, because Doug Williams is pretty solid. I mean, I've always thought he was.
Yeah.
And so he just, it said since going 65 and 37 in 8 years at Baylor, Briles has coached 2 seasons at a Texas high school and another in Italy.
Yeah, Doug Williams reminds me of.
Who?
Are you Star Wars at all? I mean, at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So in the newer series, the ones that were in the middle, all right, where Yoda was coming out and he was limping, going, with that cane to fight the Emperor. And then all of a sudden, like the Force just takes over and he just starts, just flipping and going crazy, right? That kind of reminds me of Doug Williams in the Super Bowl.
That's exactly right.
He walks up to center, and he looks like he's, just can barely make it to the center, and then he goes back and throws for a gazillion yards and has the game of life.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's a very good guy, and obviously, carries a lot of influence there, and I'm sure it's nothing personal for him. I say I'm sure.
He didn't like the look that it portrayed of Grambling.
I think that's what it was. It's more about the appearance than
Mm-hmm.
and of course that's something that Art Briles will have with him, regardless of who decides to forgive him or just.
Well, here's
let it
the
be
thing.
what it is.
This is that Pete Thamel did this, and it was updated last night. But here is the thing that I guess leads me to believe that it's still out there and open-ended. Briles' decision comes after the hire by first-year coach Hugh Jackson was met with a wave of backlash. Briles was fired by Baylor in 2016 after a campus-wide sexual assault investigation led to an independent investigation and his subsequent dismissal. Now, that's what leads me to think that that's all you know about the story. It was never resolved. There was never – I mean, because I would think that it would be included in that if it were. Does that make sense to you?
No, it does. And, again, anytime there's these independent investigations, things come to light about the people that are, accused of knowing or doing, but and rightfully so.
Go back to Joe Pa.
Well, and rightfully so, not the the victims themselves, and that's just really tough. That not because you have an idea, but you don't know, because of privacy reasons, things that are possible deals that are made behind closed doors, as far as, trying to get, resolution, whatever. That's just a tough thing.
And I think maybe here is where it comes from. And I'm reading a Wikipedia thing, and this is where I don't think he was involved, but it was what was going on his watch.
Right.
Because it said that there was findings of fact prepared by the Board of Regents after an investigation by the law firm Pepper Hamilton, who they do a lot of those, into how the school handled sexual assault. The report stated that the findings reflect significant concerns about the tone and culture within Baylor's football program as it relates to accountability for all forms of athlete misconduct. It also faulted the football team for not adequately vetting transfers, letting people in and not making sure that they fit. Okay, the regents held him responsible, suspended him with the intent to fire him as soon as they could legally be allowed to do so. Briles was provided a letter of recommendation and a severance fee, but claimed that he was never shown the evidence for why Baylor chose to fire him. He sued for wrongful termination, which was later withdrawn. Ken Starr lost his job, who was the president of Baylor, and athletic director Ian McCall resigned in the wake of the scandal. Sometimes it said reports in 2018 cast doubt on whether Briles was aware of alleged assaults, as information came forth showing administrators and local police seemed to bury reports on football players without telling football coaches. Now, here's the thing. This is where I get bothered, and this goes back. Not going to offend any Carolina fans, but I'm going to come back. You know, you have to accept some kind of accountability. I never buy into the notion that, you know, going back to the football scandal at Carolina, going back to the basketball academic scandal at Carolina, that, hey, I didn't know that was going on. That's on you. You need to know what's going on. You need to – well, let me put it this way. You need to have people under you that share your values so that it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't, that still comes back to you because you put that person in charge of those kids. Or am I looking at it wrong?
No, but the other caveat or excuse me, issue with that is when you have people that place a tremendous amount of money and resources in a university that are outside the university, such as, you know, the SMU boosters. You know, things like that. If police reports and other things were being suppressed, all right, yes, you know, you are in charge of a program, right? You are the head guy. But when there is large amounts of money that are exchanged, and we all know what's become very popular the last 2 years in sports, which is called betting. Okay? Well, with betting – you know, not to be whatever, but there is a certain type of vetting, and it's not based on your character or your integrity. It's based on your ability to make plays and win individual games. Now, I'm certainly not accusing Baylor of that. I'm saying with some of the things that you read, one could reasonably suspect.
Come to that conclusion.
That something is going, you know.
Based on the information you were given.
That's it. But I'm not, I mean, you know, it's. Just think there's a lot there. And what you said before is 100% right. I mean, there has to be accountability. The problem is how deep the lines go back, how shielded, if you're in charge of something, that you are. It's like the CEO of a company. You should have known what was going on. They were skimming the books. You know, you hire people to do a job. You vet those people. They're of high character integrity. Your backgrounds are great. And then all of a sudden they may be influenced or – so, you know, there's just a lot that goes on.
But the problem is you never really know how much you know. Nobody wants to say.
Completely agree. And how pure is college athletics?
Oh, it's not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, we're acting like this guy needs to be a purist. Certainly we're not condoning any kind of inappropriate behavior. That is crazy. You know, that's not what I mean. But I think, to your point with what you read, there's a lot more that goes in behind the scenes of these things. Just like, you know, with Chapel Hill and the stuff they've gone through, you know, the stuff that Clemson went through with the
after national championship.
After national championship. Just
it would just have to Coach Ford.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It just you know, the scrutiny seems to follow the success instead of, you know, the other way around. I don't know.
Todd said he got back Sunday night. Worst thing in life than being snowed in a nice hotel with the wife and no kids for a day. Mikey, good morning to you. Brandon said 4 if he hadn't forgot you. If you still got those items that y'all talked about, let him know when he can come by. Milton Sain, good morning. Glad to have you. Let me take a break, and then when we come back, before we take the break, let me just say this, okay? When I was coaching at Highland, when I was coaching at West Lincoln, when I was in charge of the JVs, when I was in charge of a function, I had a very simple rule. I wanted to know everything my kids did. I did not want them to be a problem. There wasn't anybody on campus from a teaching standpoint that didn't know if you have an issue with one of my kids, you come see me.
Yeah.
You come see me because they're not going to be a disruption in your classroom because that's why we're here. And so, I've just always had that philosophy. Now, when you get to that level of these major college programs, maybe you can't do that anymore. Maybe it's just too big and consuming. But there's got to be some responsibility that you take somewhere. Let me take a break. We'll be back.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Welcome back. God, it's nice outside. I may try to get in some of that GOLF this week as we're preparing for our little trip. I'm excited about it.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's good. Good group of guys.
I'm excited.
Yeah, good group of guys.
Let's see here. What else we got going on this morning? I get your take on some of the things. Of course, we'll get into baseball just a little bit later. I'm seeing some things. I don't like to do politics much, but this is something that's relating. I saw the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. They have kind of, I don't know whether they made a recommendation, suggestion. They don't want the Russian athletes or Belarus in the Olympics. And this was the funny part, if it's too late to make that change, it's never too late to make that change. The Olympics haven't started for the summer, so you can make that directive and make that change. If they came, they would not be able to come as a national team, be able to fly colors and flags and those kind of things. And it's sad that we just can't stand up for what's right. But I was at least, from a minimum standpoint, I was at least happy to see them step up and at least make a statement. Kind of weak statement, but at least to make a statement.
Well, I think they waited till it was time to do it. When it's popular, it amazes me. And
everybody does.
And I'm not going to go on a tangent on this. Okay, I'm going to stay calm, and I'm just going to say
I got you fired up,
and I'm going to let it go after this. Okay, it's amazing to me. All right, that and it's terrible. With a country invading another country. Okay, sovereign. I understand that, and it's awful, and we pray for all those involved. But it's amazing to me that the very place where the Olympics were held and the atrocities that they do to their own people, and now
talking about China.
I'm talking about them. Okay, but yet yet the Olympic Committee, which again the committee, that's a form of amateurism right there, because there's no one person to go to that's in charge. Okay, the committee recommends this. That way you can hide back there and, be a coward. Okay. But anyway, how do people not see through this? And that's number one. Number two, the flip side is I'm not so sure they don't. That's why viewership is down. The Olympics are almost
they're
and
not
it's
what
not
they used
the
to
athletes. And people need to, I really feel like we got to get to a point where people need to understand there's a difference between a government and the actual people. Okay, we fall under that umbrella. But regardless of what kind of government is in charge of your country, whatever that may be, you still have your own thoughts and feelings about things. Okay, and the
whole thing with China, where that comes back to is,
I'm sorry, I don't pay attention to that crap.
I hate to say this, but it's kind of like a lot of other things. We have gotten so numb to it that we've kind of let it go. And if this war thing hadn't happened, this wouldn't have happened anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's only, as you said, when it becomes such a big item in the pool of public opinion that, okay, I need to step out and make a statement on this.
I've been saying it for a year and 4 months. Nobility is at an all-time high.
It is. Yes, it is.
Now, it wasn't very high for the previous 5 years.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, nobility's at an all-time high, and let me get out in front of it and scream it. Look, nobody disagrees that the things going on are just terrible. There's terrible things that go around the world. The Olympics are supposed to be a part where coming together,
where you let everything else go.
Yeah, and you come in and you compete, and you let athletes be athletes. And I'm a firm believer that God allowed mankind, all right, to create sports so they don't kill each other. All right,
I can agree with that.
And so now, and I'm not saying they shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. I'm just saying there's just a lot of a lot of stuff.
That's right.
Just I'm sorry, but the more I see stuff, especially in the Olympics, we talk all this junk about this, that, and the other, and then we go over there and participate in it, okay, but yet condemn everything else that goes on except the very thing that's in front of it. I'm sorry,
you got it. If you're going to take a stand, you take a stand all the time.
Yeah, Andrew and I, and the kids, we were watching, the Olympics and the athletes.
I didn't watch any of it.
We were watching, the downhill. They're on that single sled, the bobsled or whatever single sled stuff.
The luge.
The luge is incredible. There's no way I would ever even think about going a tenth of that speed. Much
The
less
skeleton's the best one.
Holy,
because
moly,
that is a
dude.
luge facing forward.
Yeah, that's yeah. We're watching that, but the point is how do you find enjoyment, with one specific thing, and really, get the true, enjoyment out of it when you got all this other stuff just being hammered at you because so and so did this and you ought to hate them for that and you can't do that. Everybody's telling you what you ought to do instead of just them living their life and you living yours. I don't know, man.
Stephen said I'm going
done.
to enjoy Robbie's history lesson when we go on the
it's
trip.
incredible.
Does he take questions?
Yes. So what
Okay.
I do is I prepare 3 topics for the ride down.
Okay.
We never get past the first one, and it is an entire history lesson. And you are encouraged to ask questions.
I've got to be updated on. I do not remember. It's been so long since I've been in high school. There was a president, early 1900s, that his concept was he felt like the United States should be an isolationist nation. He leave us alone, we'll leave you alone. I want to say it was Woodrow Wilson, but I'm not sure. So Robbie can school me on that.
So,
now, my lighthearted question, we have a listener that updated us on another organization that said FIFA did the same thing. Now, who would that be?
It'd have to be soccer.
Yeah, and that would be who would keep us up to date on that?
Andrew.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. Have you got your season tickets to the Charlotte Football Club or whatever they're called?
They have soccer in Charlotte?
Yeah.
I heard.
At the football stadium, the other football stadium. Everybody was all excited because they had their first match up in Washington, D.C. WBTV even sent Nate. They don't send Nate anywhere. They don't let Nate go anywhere. They don't put any money in sports.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
And he went to Washington to cover that.
Do you think the new stadium in Fort Mill is going to?
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
it's going to be awesome. It's going to be built where we can host a Super Bowl because it'll be indoors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Andrew said he's still waiting on to score a goal.
I tell you what, I loved watching that guy with the Super Bowl when they had him interviewed. Yeah. Did you see that before the game?
Spanish guy.
Oh, he was great, man.
Yeah.
And he, they asked him to do like a play and do the goal and hold it. Oh man, that guy, that was cool.
It is amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
Andrew said very few people really understand third world problems. Entitlement is going to make it worse as well. You go back to there's a saying that I think is completely right there in front is you don't know what somebody goes through till you walk in their shoes. Yeah. And we definitely can't walk in anybody's shoes that's got third world problems going on. That's all I'm going to say. This just came in. The deal's not done yet, but there's no games canceled yet. And when it comes to the current battle between the Major League Baseball organization and the Players Association, at this point we'll take no canceled games as good news. I still, they've extended the deadline to 5 o'clock today. Here's what's happened in the negotiations. The two sides ending up agreeing on a 12-team playoff format. The matter of the competitive balance tax, a.k.a. the luxury tax threshold, and the relating penalties for exceeding that threshold.
Yankees.
Discussions are ongoing. More trivial matters such as defensive shifting restrictions were also reported part of discussions.
Come on, man. The shift rule.
Do you want a hard cap? Do you want a cap in baseball?
I'm a free market type guy where whatever you can do, you go get it. But at the same time, it's kind of like they talked about the luxury tax, and you can think of the Yankees having like 9 All-Stars on the team. Things like that. But
it still didn't guarantee them a win,
and it didn't. But this whole thing about them not canceling games, these players need preseason. They need spring training. They need preseason. You can't bottle that, or you can't restrict it, or even bottleneck it, where you do a whole lot in the beginning and then narrow it down, and then you start opening night. Hitting is so. Hitting is so, and they know this, but it's about game, revenues for the game, right? TV contracts, all that. It's not about being prepared to put the best product on the field. They're not going to be ready. They can train individually, but when it comes to the season, you've got to get in there and get everything. You got to work the kinks out. You've got to find the deficiencies. I'm glad they're almost there, but they have got to put the the repetitions in the number of quality reps before they put that product on the field. God.
Well, let me update you on some Panther things. Juju sent me a thing this morning that the writers are reporting the Panthers are dead locked in to upgrade the offensive line with pick number 6. I've got a chicken sandwich that says they screw that up and they don't do it.
With hot sauce.
I don't care.
No, with
and
hot
then
sauce.
And then here's the next one. Newly signed Carolina Panthers tight end Ian Thomas faces 5 misdemeanor charges as he attempted to escape police on a dirt bike back in July. He just signed a 3-year extension. He was placed under arrest for failure to heed a blue light and sirens, reckless driving, operating an uninsured, unregistered dirt bike after taking off at a traffic stop in Huntersville. The incident surfaced on Monday, 3 days after Thomas received a 3-year, $16.95 million deal to avoid becoming a free agent. Team spokesman said the team was aware of the matter and notified the league at the time the incident occurred. Since this is a pending legal matter, we won't have any further comment at this time, said the team spokesman. He was a 4th-round pick out of Indiana in 2018. While he never materialized as a receiving threat, the team hoped he would be. His value as a blocker has deemed worthy of a new deal.
Absolutely. I mean, and they have to secure that offensive line, and the only way to do that with the issues they got, like you had mentioned and you and I have talked about before, you got to draft high and early, okay? And you've got to put another lineman on the line of scrimmage. I don't care if he's a tackle, a guard, tight end. You're going to have the 6th guy on the line of scrimmage, okay? You might as well put him in an eligible number, or make him eligible, whatever, all that, But they have got to address that. And my thing is, McCaffrey, he's fantastic. But they really need to –
He's trade bait.
And I think the same reason that happened to this guy, I think that's why Deshaun Watson, because nobody knows what's going on, that's why Carolina hasn't maybe gone after him yet, because they don't know if after 2 weeks after signing him, if all of a sudden all these investigations come out. And we don't know anything. I'm not
but the thing of it is, even if you go through
anything.
this thing that they were supposed to do some things in February, March, even after it's over, you still don't know what else comes up again.
And it's sad because, that's a guy that could help immediately. Sam Darnold is like – he and Carson Wentz are great guys. They are.
They're journeyman backups.
They're great guys. Okay, but Carolina doesn't need a really good. They need a good guy that is a playmaker, that is steady.
Because they don't have. They got to have somebody that can put him on their back because they don't have enough to go around him to do it.
Look at how excited. No, you're right. Look at how excited Frank Reich was to get Carson Wentz. He coached him in Philadelphia. Couldn't wait. Now, what is it that they are just now seeing that you and I have been talking about for 4 years.
But the thing of I don't
understand
with
this.
Frank Reich is he took what he could get because it was an improvement from where he was at.
But the investment.
Oh, I know.
No, I don't disagree with that. But the investment and maybe the unrealized promise that had nothing behind it.
No, I agree. Let me give you a couple comments. Todd Herms is flexing that Western education today. He said, I could be wrong, but you're thinking about Calvin Coolidge. Wilson basically came up with the concept of the UN. Milton said the same thing. Wilson wanted the League of Nations. And then Stevens said, season will not start until July or will not start at all this year. This will be worse than 94 in MLB.
I hope he's wrong, but that is a great point. And they, just when the excitement coming out of a pandemic, People are back in the stadiums. You know, the world,
everybody said this was what was going to happen.
Okay, and then all of a sudden they can't work this stuff out.
Yeah.
In October, November, December, we have to wait till it's over before we start negotiating. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
well, but
it's
posturing. It's just posturing. That's all it is.
But again, that is style and not substance.
Oh, I know.
Break through the stuff.
Yeah.
And sit down and get it done.
I'm with you. Andy Royal said Emily Haig had 29 in the North Davidson win over East Lincoln in girls. And Milton said it would help if Carolina receivers would run crisp routes and maybe even learn how to catch. Milton, the biggest thing that I see, and you'll be surprised how many receivers will be complimented on their route running skills. It is such a You have to throw receivers open in the NFL. You can't wait for them to get open. So that consistent route tree of the quarterback knowing where they're going to be, that's why it's critical. Because if you can't do that, then the quarterback cannot connect. And I'm not so sure. Maybe that's part of the problem with some of these other quarterbacks. Let me take a break. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Welcome back. Todd had a comment that I knew it was a TV comment. Elsa Dutton has a brighter future than the Carolina Panthers, and don't want to be any spoilers, but Ford said she passed away on the show last night, so that tells you what Todd thinks about the Carolina Panthers. Now, when it comes to TV, let me tell you, I watch live TV one day a week, okay, of like network programs. Tonight is the night. I'm glued for 3 hours, okay, on CBS. All 3 versions of FBI. Love those 3 shows.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Love those 3 shows.
Absolutely.
And I had forgot, Andre called me over the weekend, the original Law and Order with Jack McCoy is back on. I wasn't excited about it. It was okay. And then I watched something else Sunday night that did not resolve, and I was supposed to watch it last night and forgot about it. I don't know about this one. This one's called no, Law and Order's on NBC.
NBC, right.
It's called Back End or something. It's kind of like the FBI thing, but it's a good show too. I kind of got hooked into it. I enjoyed it as well. I don't watch a lot of live TV other than sports.
Right.
Let's see what else we got going. Oh, do you plug?
Yeah, so the boosters, maiden boosters, have a golf tournament coming up. I believe is it March 26th and 27th? 27th, Saturday, Sunday. Glen Oaks. Got two-person teams, captain's choice, best ball. And, it's a good time. And, that money, Charles Abernathy, Brian Long, my wife Mandy's in it. There's a lot of people, a lot of long-time maiden, alumni, but then also, some, new blood, is coming into it as well. Charles Abernathy does a tremendous job with that. He and Brian Long. Brian is as dedicated to it as, he and Charles is, anyone. Ronnie Williams has been in a long time, Billy King, just great people. But these funds do go to all of the athletics. A lot of times there's a misnomer that it may just go to one sport or this or that. I can tell you from personal experience and having dealt with the boosters even 25 years ago that they, number one, they do a great job. Number two, they do have the best interest of Maiden High and the kids in the school. They do have the best interest of that. And 3, they do a very good job of, making sure that, the funding is available when there's a need or a request, to try to get out in front of something, like in whatever that may be. So great tournament, good turnout. There's a lot of door prizes, and, just 2 good days of golf.
And we play rain or shine, right?
Yep. We'll be on it. As long as it doesn't sleet or snow.
I've done that too.
Okay.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
That's not been a problem.
Yeah.
Let me give you this article that came out. I didn't get to it last night when Juju and I were on. Heather Dinich did this, and this is about the playoff expansion in college football. Now it's been put off at least 4 years, okay?
Yep.
And it said the commissioners from the ACC, Pac-12, Big Ten pushback against public misconceptions that their alliance of conferences work together to stop expansion of the playoff. I think that's a narrative that certain folks benefit from having out there, even if it's not true. Pac-12 commissioner who joined the Big Ten commissioner and ACC commissioner had an exclusive interview, but the CFP announced it will remain a 4-team playoff for the next 4 years, a decision that was made after an 8-3 vote. Now, there's 10 FBS commissioners plus Notre Dame
right.
and Mississippi State President Mark Keenum as the chair.
Right.
Okay, and revealing the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 voted against the 12-team proposal.
Absolutely. I mean, at some point, people I think generally we all like opportunity and fairness. Okay, I think we can all agree, or most people would agree, that as long as you have the opportunity, to go out and compete and do what you need to do, then that's really all you can that you can really ask for is just the opportunity across the board. Make it fair, right? The issue that you run into when you do 12 teams is you're going to theoretically have 7 or 8 that really don't need to be doing this. And so, while the money is really good, the viewership will be great. It gives other smaller schools an opportunity, like, Central Florida, what was it, UCF, is that what it was? One year they were really good, and, gives them an opportunity to get on the big stage.
Well, Cincinnati, too.
Cincinnati, which they did make it, right? So, but, I mean, is that really what the purpose of the whole thing is? Now, if that's what comes to consensus, then fine, do your 8 or 12 or 16 or whatever floats your boat. But right now, with the number of games that they played during the season, plus the conference championship, plus the potential of 2 games, how many games you going to play in college football? 20? Okay. Just saying.
Well, I said this before, and I said this with the NFL. I was not in favor of extending to 17 games.
Yeah.
I was in favor of extending the season a week with an extra bye week for rest.
I agree.
I didn't want more games. I just wanted football to last longer.
Yeah.
That's and the same thing here. It could be the same thing.
Right.
You don't need the conference championship game. That's a waste of time in college football, in my opinion. That's just in my opinion. Conferences need to be trimmed back so everybody plays everybody.
That's the first step.
Yeah. We had Andrew Patrick. You know Andrew? Played at Bandy's and then CVCC, now at Lenore Ryan. We were talking last night, and Lenore Ryan doesn't get an opportunity to play 3 of their conference opponents in the SAC because they only get to play 10 games.
Right.
That's wrong. That's wrong. That you need to play everybody in your conference. If you can't, your conference is too big.
All right, so think about these are great points, but think about evolution of times. All right, there's 4 things that happen. There's a fall, there's a winter, there's a spring, and there's a summer. The same seasonal things happen in our lives, right? Knowing when to harvest going into the fall is what is key. When you don't harvest appropriately and you lose the crop, then that's when expansion stops and retraction starts. So what's going to happen is right now we're in expanding mode of conferences. When it no longer fits the need and they don't need to pull their assets together, okay, to bring about the most beneficial whatever that they're looking for.
And nobody can really tell you what that is.
That's very true. Then it will start breaking down, and these conferences that you're talking about that LR doesn't get to play, the SEC is a great example, ACC, they will start breaking down again and going back to regional type conferences. Now, when's that going to happen? You and I don't know. But at some point, this idea, it's kind of like school consolidation, right? So moving to Burke County when we were 10 or 11, whatever, when I was 10 or 11, you had 4 junior highs that were previously high schools in the eastern part of the county. You had Hildebrand, George Hildebrand, Valdez, and Drexel. Okay? They all consolidated in the early 70s to make one very, very large East Burke High School. Didn't know the girl to my left when we graduated, didn't know the dude to my right. Okay? Knew a lot of people, but didn't know them. Now, because that theory apparently was not the best thing to do, they built Drone and Patton High, which is, took from Freedom. Freedom had the same thing with 4 or 5 high schools, that became one, right? Junior highs. You're going to see this in college football at some point because, the breakdown, then that's when I think you're going to get your multi-team 12, 16-game playoff, but not before. Mega conferences rule the day. That's the narrative. And we know what happens in society, Lenny. People follow the narrative.
Yeah, and you follow the money. That's the other side of it. And that's what's happening now. I hate that because when you look at it, so many things have gotten so, in my opinion, unwatchable. Like with the bowl games and stuff, it's when you start watering down something because everybody feels like they need to get a piece of the pie. I'm in favor of the playoffs expanding, but you got to do it right. And I don't think they can figure out how to do that. I was not a fan of going to 12. I don't like bye weeks.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to that. Not when it comes to playoffs, because that's not good.
Right.
It's just I don't know how. I was hoping when all of this stuff with NIL came about and the NCAA kind of pulling back on its control and money that we would get some of this, but we didn't. Now we've just got smaller empires that aren't getting along with each other instead of seeing this was an opportunity for us to step out and do what's right for the programs that need to be on a certain level.
Unbelievable, Lanny. And I was listening yesterday. I want to say it was to Chapel Hill's AD. I say yesterday. It may have been Saturday. I was listening to it, or Sunday on the show down. I was heading down to Wilmington. And he was talking about all of the new people that they've had to hire because of the, image
the compliance
and
issues, yeah.
Yeah, because they got to hire all these people. They got to train
Show me the money.
They got to train those people, not just hire them, but train them. And then, what you can do, what you can't do, and then advise the athletes based on that. And he said, he talked about, he said, we're lucky that, football, and he came out and said, look, it pays for everything. It does. It does. He said, now, we're one of the very few basketball places that, do break.
And who was this?
I think it was the AD at Carolina.
Okay.
And I was listening to him, but you could hear the angst in his voice talking about the image and likeness and what a strain that was putting on, like, having to hire all, which, I mean, that's fine. Regulations come out. You adapt, you adjust, or whatever. But you have to remember when, you impose something, you take from one to give to the other. Now, could those resources be reinvested into the athletic experience? And then he talked about Title IX and, the opportunities that are there and doing the very best that they all can do to keep up, with things that – and, again, it's about opportunity.
And I'm still confused as to why – the universities needed to get involved on NIL.
Okay. It's a great question. I think after listening, because I had some of those same kind of, why are you really – after listening to that, they still have rules as far as amateurism goes. So if those athletes cross that line, and it's kind of like the Art, not Art Briles with the sexual assault, but I mean a situation of maybe knowing but not knowing fully.
Right.
Well, then who's going to be accountable for that? You should have you should have educated the athlete. You should have provided resources. You should have done this. So you're doing all that so the athlete can receive hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, and you're pumping those resources. Look, it is what it is, but there's a lot of discussion, and I could just hear the angst in his voice talking
well,
about it.
I'll go back and say this, and I'm still a firm believer in this. We've got this hodgepodge, nobody knows what's going on with NIL for the simple reason the NCAA would never accept the fact that we need to deal with this, and they let it get in the court system, and then the court system's dictated and said, you've got to do this because you didn't control it. And now you've created a whole new animal instead of just facing that you need – here's the thing. If you continually deny that something needs to be done, it will some point come and snap you on the butt because it's going to happen. You can't stay. If you can't put the blinders on and say, if I just ignore it, it will go away.
Well, and
that's what they did.
There's a wavering of principles and integrity and, accountability and all of these things, okay? So, yes, you must look, 8 to 10 years out on things and see if there's any changes that are coming in that time period that you can make now. But at the same time, if you look at a group and say, we're the governing body, these are the rules that we have. If you transfer, I don't care where you go, you have to sit out a year.
Well, that's the other part. There is no centralized control.
But that's kind of what I'm getting at. So this all, it's like anything else. If you establish a set of rules and people understand how to play by them, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be challenged or people aren't going to bring up, well, why are you doing this? You're not changing with the times. But you're setting expectations so they know what they're up against while they're fussing about it. That is not what's happened here. It's interesting to me that in today's world, we are so interested in getting kids into college classes, especially when they're in high school, and getting them through college without maybe having the full high school experience of growth and development from a maturity standpoint to allow them to go out into the world and be able to absorb what is coming. It's not the academic side of the world that young people seem to have the most trouble with. It's the realistic part of the world that really
of dealing with what the world's all about.
Nobody cares about you or your feelings.
Yeah.
The world was here before you were.
Yep.
If you want to invoke, certain things that you want to do, then it has to be meaningful, number one, and number two, it has to start with you.
Yeah.
Okay. There's not my point. All this is there's so much wavering that goes on in hurrying things up. Now we want 18-year-olds to be able to receive these corporate deals, which, listen, if that's the way it is, that's fine. But what we can't do is turn around and fuss about it, because, well, why are they not doing it this way or why are they handling it this way? You can't – there's just so – we got to slow down.
Well, there's such a need for planning, and nobody wants to do that. They just want to react, and I hate that. I got to have structure. I got to have schedules. I can't deal. I can deal with seat of my pants management. I don't like to.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
because it's just it's the stressful side.
The problem is, think about all the young people.
Oh, I know that can't.
That when something comes up, the first thing they want to do is fight or flight because that's the way they've been raised.
Because they haven't been taught how to handle.
Well, that's it. They've been either sheltered or shielded or pushed through to hurry up and do something without all the stages being set and met. And I can tell you from personal experience that it's better to go through the fire. And
failure's a great teacher.
Well, it's our greatest teacher, but yet nobody wants their kids to fail.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I don't mind you failing, and I just want to be there to kind of help pick you up and show you that it'll be okay, and here's what you got to do to get through it. The problem is, you've got to let them fail a little bit. If you don't, because that's what the world is.
How about if you just put a hand in the back and encourage them to keep moving forward? Mm-hmm. They may trip, but you're right there behind them.
We'll pick up the pieces.
Get back up and keep instead of plowing. Instead of standing in front, plowing the road for them, and expect them to follow.
We'll pick up the pieces.
Come on,
but I'm gonna help you through
right?
this. Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
I agree.
All right.
Feel better now? Blood pressure good?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's awesome. All right, we gotta go.
Allergy medicine.
Allergy medicine's kicking in. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.